because you once played football and you were not that great. Yes, you were a great player, doesn't make you a great manager. Maldini had a very great project in mind when he was there at that time, and we could see the progression of what he was trying to do.
Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, from anywhere you're listening to us around the world. You're welcome to tonight's edition of the Let's Go podcast, your one-stop shop for everything football. And like you already know, on this show, the drama never ends. Even after 90 minutes, after the final whistle, the drama never ends. As usual on the show, I have with me the usual culprits. I've got Samson, our AC Milan fan. I've also got his AC Milan partner in crime. They are in a very happy mood this week. I've got
Yeah,
Ahmed, and joining us on the show again today is Tosin, our Arsenal representative. Um, Sometime during the show, we expect to have another member. That's Kat, also an AC Milan supporter. Guys, how are you guys doing today? I know that some of you are in very happy spirits, and you're looking forward to the month of May. Some of you are hoping to win trophies. Samson, how are you doing?
uh, I don't mind losing the final as long as Inter is not winning the treble. I'm fine.
Can you imagine? Ahmed, I'm hoping you are going to have something even better for me to hear. And enough of the bad belly, please. How are you doing? Because Tosin, fresh off the conquer of the Bernabeu. How are you doing tonight?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Yeah, very, very okay. And Samson just mentioned that he's not expecting Inter to win it. Don't forget, Arsenal is still in the Champions League, so we should be able to stop Inter as well.
I mean,
Inter has
that
beaten you
that's
this
that's
season now.
very rich coming from someone that has
Hmm.
already been beaten by Inter this season.
No,
But
Well,
but
really
but
now.
that's
we don't
that's
judge
by
with
the
we
way.
don't judge with a group game, and this is hopefully let's play PSG first, and before we start talking about finals.
Now you're talking. You have to conquer the one in front of you first before you start thinking of a potential final.
I'm just
So,
saying.
on the show today, we're going to be talking about quite a number of things. We'll be discussing Milan's current situation. Milan currently find themselves in a situation where they're faced with either continuing with Conceicao if he wins the Coppa Italia, despite the precarious situation in the league. Um, I would like to know what our Milan fans think particularly. Do you think it's something that you would be able to accept if Milan decides to keep Conceição should he win the Coppa Italia, despite obviously he would not qualify for the Champions League next season? Do you think that Milan should keep him?
Personally, I believe his return ticket to Lisbon has been bought. If he likes, he should beat Bologna by 10 goals. He has to go. Uh, you can be lucky a number of times, and for all of Conceição's misfortune, I don't know, beating Inter looks comes easy for him, and I'm not even throwing a shade at Inter. Uh, we came back against Inter in the Super Cup final, 2 goals that we won. But then, even after that match, some of us highlighted the difficulty in the team. Unfortunately, from January till now, that difficulty has expanded, not until recently when he changed formation and we were able to beat Inter again, and we are looking forward to a final. I think it is short-term memory loss that is affecting some of my Milan fans that want him to continue. If he wins the second trophy, his short spell at Milan will have been very productive for him as a manager. Let him go. Let us start afresh. Let us start Italian. That's just my own point of view. Somebody feels that is a wrong agenda, but I feel let us start afresh.
Well, some would say that at the end of the day, result is all that matters. And we have a coach that has brought home the Italian Super Coppa and is on the verge of bringing home the Italian, cup as well. That's the Coppa Italia. Some of Conceição's fans would argue that he did not begin the season with Milan and he met a mess. So that should serve as an excuse for his performance in the league, this season. Ahmed, do you agree with some of these people, or you are also on Samson's side and you think that Conceição should take the next available plane to Lisbon come the end of the season? Because a coach that you haven't given a preseason, you've brought him in the middle of season, in the middle of a very tough tournament, and you've given him the task of qualifying for the Champions League, despite the fact that he's picked up the team in eighth position. He's still done well to, pick up one trophy and is on the verge and has qualified for the final of another trophy. I'd say he's done enough to maybe deserve another season. But we'll see what the Milan management choose to do.
Let's let Tosin weigh in. Before
Yeah,
Tosin
well,
weighs in,
I was just going to ask Tosi as well. As a neutral, obviously, you guys have sentiments. I'm also an Inter fan. I'm a rival, so there's a bit of a sentiment on my side as well. So, would allow a Premier League weigh in on a Premier League fan rather weigh in on this.
tell him all the
Tosin,
facts. Oh, tell him all the
I'm going.
facts.
Okay, just calm down. Why is this man rushing? Just calm down. Now we have Sergio Conceição, a coach that did relatively well at Porto. He did quite well at Porto. His record at Porto speaks for itself. Milan started the season really badly after they sacked Stefano Pioli. They brought in Paulo Fonseca, who did not do really well. They decided to let go of Fonseca sometime in January, if I'm not mistaken, and they brought in Conceição with the hope of reviving the squad and then put, taking the team back to the Champions League or taking the team to a top four finish. At the time that Conceicao joined, Milan were placed in eighth spots, seventh or eighth, if I'm not mistaken.
Eight.
They were about say 6 points from top four position. He came in the middle of a Super Copa final tournament, final four, and took them to the final of that tournament, won the final of that tournament against who you would consider the overwhelming favorites for that tournament, Inter. Beat Juventus, beat Inter, raised the morale of the team. Unfortunately, some of the problems that the team had under Fonseca were still evident under Conceicao in the league. But it's still done well to take them to the final of the Coppa Italia, which is the equivalent of England's FA Cup, is beating the same Inter again. In fact, Inter has not managed to beat him since he joined, and they've played about four times. Now, do you think that if this same coach wins the Coppa Italia, despite the fact that he has won the Super Coppa, um, we already know that he will not qualify for the Champions League next season? I mean, there's no point dancing around that. Despite the fact that he would not qualify for the Champions League, if he wins the Coppa Italia and he wins the Super Copa, he has won the Super Copa, do you think he has done enough to,
Keep his job.
to keep his job?
Right. So I'm just going to cite some examples, right? And I'll go to Premier League. Ateta now has been the manager of Arsenal for 5 years, and he's won just the FA Cup and let's say Community Shields as well. And with that, we didn't sack Ateta, and he has improved Arsenal a lot. We've not played Champions League for many years, and now we are consistent playing. I think for 2 or 3 years now, we're back. We are now consistent, and look at us now. We are in the semi-finals. I think since 2009, Arsenal are now playing the Champions League semi-final, and I would say give Conceicao time because now, like you mentioned, he won the Super Cup and is about to win another trophy in Italy. And if you look at Ruben Amorim, he has not done anything. Though hopefully they are hoping he wins the Europa League as well. But I think this is the worst Man U has gone for a manager, and they're still keeping the manager, and they are not even talking about and then sacking him. So I would
That's
say
true.
give him a full season. You can't just because someone came in January and then you want to sack him in May. Give him a full season. Let him have preseason with the players. Let him buy his own players because I would say let him buy his own players. Let him go to the market, buy his own players, and then you know what to do from there. So I would just say give him the whole season. You just don't sack a coach because of just 6 months, and in 6 months he's about to win two trophies for AC Milan. Well, would you rather go have a good manager and go trophyless? Because you came in now, you were smiling, you were like, oh yeah, we just finished beating Inter Milan. But would you rather
But
go trophyless with a good gameplay, nothing to show up for, or you want a trophy with a manager that just had 6 months? So it all depends on you, Samson.
All right. Samson.
well, just to uh, help you with your point, we are playing the Coppa Italia final for the first time since 2018. The last time we won that tournament was in 2008 or 2009. I can't remember. And he's done well in the cups. We are in the final. Hopefully, he wins. That will be two trophies at the end of the season. But then, the aim uh, of his employment in January was to make top four. Now, as at the time he came in, top four was well within reach, and he was in the Champions League also. I mean, we were kicked out of the Champions League by Feyenoord. We couldn't beat Feyenoord over two legs, and
After buying their best striker, please add that.
after buying their striker for 32 million, and I don't know, it's to me, I think he should go. I think he should go.
Well,
I
Let us
feel
let us hit the reset button.
I feel it still needs some time. That's what I think. Because look at Chelsea, for example. They spent 1 billion. They are
1.5
struggling to
now.
make 1.5 billion. They are struggling to make top four. And they are not even saying they
They
want to
won't
sack
make
the
top four.
coach. They are struggling to make top four. They have not
Top
made
five
top
self,
four.
they won't make.
Yeah. So then you have to compare some circumstances, compare some teams, and look at them. Tottenham Hotspur, they spent a lot of money. I think they are 15th in the Premier League. You know, and well, they might sack their own coach. I think this is the second
They
season.
should sack him.
What
So
if he wins the Europa? Let me put you on the spot. What if he wins the Europa?
I, well, it might change because Tottenham Hotspur don't win trophies.
If he
So
wins the
it might.
Europa, I will keep him. Oh.
Well,
I think
I think that the problem with Postecoglou goes beyond the performance on the pitch. I think his behavior off the pitch is also been a problem, especially with the fans. I've seen clips of him telling fans to maybe shush. There were situations where he wanted to fight a fan that spoke to him. So it
Yeah.
looks like the pressure of that job is also getting to him. And personally, I feel like he is showing that that job might be bigger than him, and that could be one of the reasons that even if he wins, the Europa League at the end of season, Tottenham might decide to let him go.
let him go.
For a coach with maybe a bigger charisma or bigger character. But sticking to the topic, Samson wants Conceicao to leave. I'm going to try to put him on the spot now. You are Zlatan Ibrahimovic or Folani or whoever makes the decision for AC Milan. You sack
Yeah.
Conceicao at the end of the season. I want you to give me three realistic names that you think would be better suited for this AC Milan job. And when I say realistic, I'm talking about coaches that you think would be the right fit, coaches that would think would not complain about Milan's transfer budget, for example, and would easily be able to work with the crop of players that Milan have at the moment.
Well, personally, I have just two, and my top choice for the job is Sari. Uh, our team is built for 4-3-3. There's no way you look at it. That team is built for 4-3-3, and Sari brings in maturity, brings in tactical discipline. Also, Sari's time in England has added something different to him. I remember when he joined Chelsea and he was playing this ultra attacking press. After Manchester City gave him 6-0, since that match, something changed in Sarri's mentality. I remember that same season, he played City again and he parked the bus in the FA
That's true.
Cup or Carling Cup final. He played Arsenal in the Europa League final and he parked the bus. He beat at Arsenal on counter. So personally, I would want Sarri. Sarri is Italian. Yinka, you know the history of Serie A. You, except you don't want us to win the league. That's why you are looking for a foreign coach for us. The last foreign manager to win the league in Serie A was Jose Mourinho. That's
And that
about
was
a
15 years
decade.
ago.
That was 50 years ago. It just doesn't work for the foreign managers. So personally, Mauricio Sarri is my first choice. He's a 4-3-3 manager. He's conservative. He knows the job. I don't need to tell you Sarri's CV. If we can't go with Sarri because we approached Sarri in January, Sarri turned us down because of the length of the contract. So let's assume Sarri is still not pleased with us. I don't mind Vincenzo Italiano, the current Bologna manager. He's progressive, he's young, and he has idea. Tosin, Yinka did not tell you that Conceicao has been changing formation every match. Ah!
Well, it all it still boils down to the fact that the squad was not built for him. So he's trying to figure out the best way to get, the best out of that squad. But I completely agree
Anyways,
with you,
I've
to
answered
be
you.
honest.
Sorry. Cass is here.
Um,
I'm sure
it's good
Cass
to have
will.
you around, Cass. Welcome to the show, Cass. How are you doing today? Or
Good,
tonight,
good,
rather.
good. Thank you for having me.
All right. So we've just been discussing Milan's current situation. We've been talking about whether our Milan fans would like to keep Conceicao if he does not make the Champions League, obviously top four in England, but ends up winning the Coppa Italia and the Super Coppa. I'm just going to give you about 2 minutes or 3 minutes to quickly weigh in on that.
For me, I think I was asked this same question on another podcast about 2 days ago, and my straight answer was I don't even care whoever, because I think the problem is not just solely on the shoulders of whoever we bring in as the manager at the moment. It's more of the management itself needs to search for a solution within themselves. We have a lot of people
They should be
sitting in there
sacked.
who
Which
are not
solution are
doing
you looking for?
anything. Yeah, yeah. So one of the solutions could be to sack them, or probably to make them let them go and work at the cafeteria, or let them go and work at somewhere else. You don't have to, yeah, because you once played football and you were not that great. Yes, you were a great player, doesn't make you a great manager. Maldini had a very great project in mind when he was there at that time, and we could see the progression of what he was trying to do, the kind of managers he wanted to bring on, and the things he had in mind for the club. But then when America came in, and I'm trying to be very careful. This is not a slander on America. America, they've been into very good things, but I don't think football is part of those things that they should be involved in. Ever since the red bed came into our lives has been like we have been witchcrafted, so to say, and things have just gone down the spiral. So I don't care, even if we bring Sarri today, as long as the Redbirds are still the one managing the club with the likes of the people around them, we might most likely not get something good. Yes, Conceicao, this is the first season. He has something great within that he can do if he's given the space and the time, so that, because I don't like to judge people based on, like when Yinka said, he doesn't have the kind of players that he wants yet. So maybe when he gets his kind of player, maybe things will be different, just maybe. But like I said, I like to solve problem from the root source. So the root source is within the management. And then if we can solve that, then we can now start saying, oh, Conceicao isn't doing this, oh, this person isn't doing this. Because you'll be surprised, even if you bring Pep, we will still come here after another 38 games and still say almost the same thing. Probably will struggle to
All right.
qualify at the end of the day, and Milan shouldn't be in that kind of position, in my opinion. Thank
All right. So I actually think that if we sit down here for the next 2, 3 hours to discuss with Milan, we might not be able to leave here because the problem is quite wide. It's really wide. But sticking with Serie A, we I would also like us to look at the top four race in Italy. It was confirmed last week that Italy will not be having an extra slot for the Champions League next season. So that leaves us with just 4 slots. The 5 slots or the extra slots are officially going to England and Spain.
you.
At the moment, it looks like Inter and Napoli have locked down the first 2 slots in Serie A. It's left to be seen who will take first and who will take second, but it does look like the both of them would finish either first or second. Where the real drama, even though there's a bit of drama in the Scudetto race as well, but we have a bit of drama in the Champions League race as well, where we have Atalanta in third, Bologna in fourth, Juventus in fifth, Lazio in sixth, and Roma and Fiorentina in seventh and eighth, respectively. Juventus picked up a shock loss in their last game against who was it again?
Parma.
Parma. Parma. I was really expecting them to win that game. And I know that some of you have had your opinions regarding the teams that you think would finish in the top 4 slots in Serie A. But I just want to ask, has there been any change in your opinion, especially with the way that Bologna has been doing recently? I mean, by this time, one would have expected them to drop out of the top 4 already, but it looks like they're still holding on for their lives. Samson.
Well, uh, Juve has brought Bologna back into contention with that loss to Parma. And uh, Bologna's next match is away to Udinese. Juve is hosting Monza at home. Now, there's an aspect to this race that I'm not sure we had factored in earlier, and it's the fact that the teams battling relegation, they are coming to play you like it's Champions League final.
Of course. Of course.
They are ready to die on the pitch for that 3 points. If for any reason you let them go ahead first, you are in trouble. So even though on paper Monza looks like a team that Juve should roll over, the team is psychologically broken now due to the loss at Parma, and anything can happen. So I would say that the dynamics between Bologna and Juve has changed. If Bologna wins against Udinese and Juve beats Monza, the game against Juve, there's an head-to-head against between Bologna and Juve. So that might be the match that will decide who takes fourth and who takes fifth, in my opinion.
All right. So personally, I think it will go down to the wire, but I'd like to know what Cass thinks about the top 4 race in Serie A.
I think it's still pretty much open. I was just trying to look at the fixture for Bologna over here, and I can see that they are still playing Juventus, they're still playing Milan.
Fiorentina.
I think I'm Fiorentina as well. Based on their recent form, we can say, okay, they might look like the favorite in this fixture, but then you can't really like just throw it all out and say, oh, they should be the favorite, because the way things are going, I just think if you allow 10 people to go to Champions League, I think everybody wants to go to the Champions League because of the money as it stands. But I think at the end of the day, Juventus will find a way to squeeze themselves into the top 4. I just think they will find a way. Whatever it is that is happening within the dressing room of the old ladies, I think they will find something to do about it and make sure they find that way, because they need that money. They need that money financially. They need that money.
They
So
will cook the books if they don't
Well,
get the
well,
money.
we're not here to we're not here to slander anyone. Don't allow them serve us lawsuits, I beg. Um, Tosin, do you have anything to share with regards to, the top four is in Serie A as well?
Um, I'm not much of a Serie A person, but looking at the league and looking at the points as well, um, looking at the league and looking at the points, and what I could see is the points between Juve and Bologna is just, and Lazio as well. The points are very, very close. And
Yes.
as Cas mentioned, Juventus, well, with the records and the name as well, which I believe why Cas has mentioned that they should be able to squeeze themselves in. Uh, but we can't just predict football that way because look, if you look at it this season in the Premier League, Nottingham Forest, they've done really well, which I really want them to make the Champions League because they've really played well. And there's a possibility that Bologna as well can do this because if you look at it, they've scored like a lot of goals this season um, as well. And I hope they win. They qualify for the Champions League. Let a new team come in and let this team grow. And
Well, Bologna were in the Champions League this season.
they were in the
Did it,
Champions League this
and they
season
did
as
Yes,
well.
well.
they took the fifth spot this season. Um, uh, yeah, sorry to cut you short, Tosin. I think that I'm just going to try to add a bit of spice to the question that I asked you earlier. I think that both of you are neglecting the fact that Juventus find themselves in a very tricky situation. And I've said tricky because in their last five games, they are going to play Bologna, and I think they are going away to Bologna. They are also
Mhm.
going to play Lazio. They are going away to
Against
Lazio as
Lazio.
well. Yes, they are currently on the same points with Lazio, 59 points each, and they're 1 point behind Bologna in Bologna is in fourth. Now, let's
Yeah.
even assume that because I know that Bologna has a very tough set of fixtures, that their fixtures are really crazy. And I know we mentioned here that we do not think that Bologna would make it. But let's even assume that Bologna does not make it to the Champions League. There's still Lazio. People are overlooking Lazio in that sixth spot because if Juve manage to lose to Bologna and Lazio are able to win their next two games, it puts Lazio in a very good position to qualify for the Champions League with 3 games to go. And they still have to face Juventus. So I'm going to put you on the spot now. I need you to just pick one team out of Lazio, Bologna, and Juventus because I think that Atalanta would make it unless something catastrophic happens. Out of Lazio, Bologna, and Juventus, gun to your head, who do you think is making Champions League?
Let me give Tosin a clue
It's like
before
this gun
before
is
you
really
put him on the
affecting
spot.
those.
Oh,
let me
okay.
put
Because
let me give you a
okay,
clue. So
because
there's Juventus. Lazio is playing.
I'm looking at the league, and
Okay.
you just left Roma out of it because the points are really close. Roma has 57 points, and it's still possible for. And this is just 33 games, so
Of course,
leaving Roma out of
Roma
it,
has a chance, obviously,
yeah.
but the reason why I've not included Roma so far is because it's tighter among those three that I've listed. Roma still has to
Well,
make up 3 points on Bologna and then 2 points on Juventus and Lazio. So that's why I've not included them. Obviously, Roma has a chance, but I think that if you were to pick between these three teams, which team are you going for, considering their fixtures?
I'll still pick Juve. Why I'll pick Juve is because I believe Juventus is a big team. They should be able to handle Bologna and Lazio. So, which is why I'm picking Juventus
Have you seen
to make
Juventus
top
this
four.
season? Anyways, Samson, is Samson still with us?
I'm with you. I'm
Who's your
with you.
pick?
Gun to my head.
Yes.
I'll pick Bologna.
Considering their fixtures, I need to have a look at those
Yeah.
fixtures as well again. I think
Bologna
you're forgetting
plays.
that Bologna goes to Udinese next. They play
Mm-hmm,
Juventus at the Dallara, that's their
mm-hmm.
home ground. After that, they
Yes.
go to San Siro to face Milan, which would be like
They will beat
a
they will beat Milan.
a preview for the Coppa Italia final. And then they go away to Fiorentina, which is another
Mhm.
dangerous ground. And then they
Yeah.
finish the season by hosting Genoa, at home. Do you still think, considering all of these five fixtures and the Coppa Italia sandwiched in between, Coppa Italia final, that Bologna will make the Champions League?
Yes, let me just explain briefly why. Bologna is playing Udinese. Juve is also playing Udinese. Bologna is playing Juve and playing Milan. Juve is
Mm-hmm.
playing Bologna and Lazio. The Juve they have seen this season, I'm not sure they can beat Bologna at Dallara. And Juve is going away to Lazio.
Yeah.
I'm Juve might end up in sixth.
I mean, the Lazio currently have the Lazio are not particularly doing well at home, to be quite honest. They've got the ninth best home record in Serie A. But I don't want us to waste too much time on because we still got a lot of things to discuss. Cass, gone to your head. Who do you think will qualify for the Champions League of those three teams?
I think Juventus, because I know I was just trying to give Tosin a clue that the same Parma that's been the shaft in everybody's wheel of progress this season is playing Lazio next, and some Parma might still get another point from Lazio because I think they've been doing it against most of the top teams this season.
England.
So um,
Okay.
I will give it to Juventus.
So that's Cass Juventus, Tosin Juventus, and Samson Bologna. Come the end of the season, we're going to see who has got. Obviously, opinions change, and before the end of the season, I'm sure that you guys might want to change your opinions again. But still sticking to the top four, top four discussion or top five in this case. I also want us to look at the Premier League. Like I said earlier, Premier League will be having one extra slot. They could potentially have six representatives in the Champions League next season, provided that one of, Tottenham or Manchester United win the Europa League, which would be massive for them, by the way, because the more representatives you have, the higher your chance of getting that extra
Get
slot
more
again for that next
represented.
season. So, um, but at the moment, the league looks like a foregone conclusion now. Arsenal dropped points in their last match against Crystal Palace. A beautiful goal by Mateta, by the way, which I'm sure Tosin would not have liked to, like to watch. Um,
Sure.
Liverpool should run away with the league. Man City look like they are getting back into form this season. I don't know if I'm
Yes,
the
they are
only one
back
that
now.
has
They are
noticed.
back.
Just look at this man. Look at this shameless man. Man, Man City look like they are getting back into form, and it looks like Forest are shaking off the bit of problem that they had for two games in a row to pick up a win in their last game. I think they faced Tottenham. They beat Tottenham. At the moment, the league table looks like this: for first five, that is: Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Forest, Newcastle. Chelsea is currently sixth, but they're just 2 points from the fifth spot and 3 points from fourth spot. In fact, they are just 4 points from third spot. That's Man City. Man City have played one game more than Forest and Newcastle. Um, we mentioned there, some weeks back, some of us gave predictions on the teams that we think will make it to the Champions League. Um, Samson, are you still sticking with your prediction that Chelsea will not make the Champions League? Do you think that Forest will hold on in this last five games to secure that top five slot?
Okay. I saw Forest against Spurs, and they exceeded my expectation. In fact, uh, they wanted to kill Spurs in the first 20, 30 minutes. They basically ended the match in the first 30 minutes, and they they had to defend in the last 10 minutes because Spurs got a goal back. But they defended well and they ran away with the win. Their next match is against Brentford. Brentford does not have anything to play for. They've been enjoying themselves, playing good football. Uh, with that in mind, Forest might pick a win because Forest will be at home. Personally, I don't see Chelsea going to the Champions League. They still have to play. They are playing Everton next. David Moyes Everton.
And
And then
Everton
they
has been
still have,
spoilers for everybody so far in
for
this race.
everybody, they still have Liverpool, they have Newcastle, they have United, and they have Forest. So I'm still sticking with my prediction. Forest, City, and Newcastle.
All right, so I'm going to face our Premier League experts now. There's one team that people seem to be overlooking in this race for top five, and I think that that's Aston Villa. When most people talk about top five race, you see them mentioning Man City, Forest, Newcastle, Chelsea. Most people do not. It's almost like people do not give Aston Villa a chance. So I'm going to ask you, Tosin, with just 4 points off Man City in fourth spot, they've played the same games as Man City, by the way, but they have played one more game than Forest, Newcastle, and Chelsea. What do you think Aston Villa's chances are in this race for Champions League qualification or top five finish?
Um, I still believe, as Samson mentioned, Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Forest, and Newcastle should make the Champions League. That's my opinion, and that's why I think. Um, Villa, um, I doubt if they will be able to make the Champions League. I just doubt they'll be able to make it because they still have Chelsea on top of them. They might be lucky. They might because Chelsea has tough fixtures till the end of the season, and it's not going to be really easy for Chelsea. So maybe Villa might nick the sixth place from Chelsea and they make the Europa League, but I don't think them making Champions League.
Okay, so I have a question now. On one of our episodes, we discussed, we compared the Aston Villa project and the Newcastle project. We sort of, there was some sort of consensus that there wasn't really much between both teams in terms of where their project is at the moment. It's just that because Newcastle have won the Carabao Cup or the EFL Cup, people seem to think that Newcastle are doing spectacularly much more than Aston Villa. But the fact remains that Newcastle have made the Champions League once in the last 3 or 4 seasons. Aston Villa have made the Champions League once in the last 3 or 4 seasons. In terms of their stature in the Premier League currently, they are almost on the same level. Now, why is it that you are giving Newcastle more of a chance in this race than you would give Aston Villa, for example?
Um, Newcastle at the moment they're in a better position than Aston Villa, and they have the most informed striker in the Premier League right now to me as Isak. So I believe they have that. And if you look at the team as well, the team is compact. So and I just believe they have players that can at least make them win games. Like people like Isak would always look for a way to get goals out for them. But for Villa, Villa has players as well. But they signed some players in January. But I believe those players have not really settled. Players like Rashford and Co. They've not really settled, so they are still depending on their old players that they have. So, which is why I still believe Newcastle is still a bit ahead of them, and I believe Newcastle should come and qualify for the Champions League ahead of them.
Okay. Cass, do you want to add anything to that?
No, nothing really. I would just say I want for in as much as I want Forest to be on that stage, it might it might not happen. Maybe Forest might just be swapped with Villa one way or the other. Because there's this thing that comes with if you look at the manager in Villa, he has done it before, he can do it again. The quality of players they've got, they've got a bit of more experienced players who know how to manage things at this stage. And looking at even their fixtures for the remaining part of the season, I think the only team that I feel will give them a bit of a tough time is Crystal Palace. And if they can actually find their way around Crystal Palace, they should be able to beat Tottenham, United, and I can't remember the last team they're playing now. So which should make it like a 9 point out of 12. But let's see how it goes at the end of the season. But I wish Forest, because they've really put in their best this season, I wish they could actually make it.
Yeah, I actually think that most lovers of football would like for Forest to qualify. But Tosin, you were going to say something.
Yes, I just want to remind Cars. Yes, um, what's his name? Unai has done well for Villa, but don't forget Unai managed Arsenal, and the year he managed Arsenal, he had the opportunity to make top four. Yeah, I think it was how many points? Was very close, but he bottled it. So I still believe he can still bottle it.
Is
So
this
forget about the critics.
is
So,
this clouding your judgment on Unai? Is
because
time at us now? Is it in a way influencing your analysis of the man
I,
as a manager?
I just believe, yeah, Unai. Let me just say, Unai has won Europa League and he has won trophies, quite all right. But I don't think he's a top manager. I think he can only manage clubs like Villa. He can't manage big clubs.
He
So
managed
and
PSG.
but did you see what happened to him at PSG? Barcelona
Well,
came back. Yeah, like anybody can manage PSG to win the league. I think he didn't even win the league, or did he even win? I think he came
to be
second.
honest, I can't remember again.
I think he came second. He didn't win the league. So you can imagine. So I don't think he can make it. Nuno Espirito is a very good coach, and you would see that. Yeah, he must. I think because we can only judge with what's his name, Unai winning trophies, which is why I can just say he's better than Nuno. But Nuno has really done very well this season, and if you look at his fixtures as well, I believe he should be able to make the Champions League. Yeah, if he's able to at least get 10 points out of the remaining fixtures because he's playing Brentford, hopefully he wins and he's going to definitely beat Leicester City. He's playing Crystal Palace as well. He's going to Crystal Palace. Hopefully he gets a draw there. And he plays West Ham. And definitely, I think they'll kill themselves against Chelsea at the end of the season.
Well, personally, I think that if Forest are able to beat Brentford in their next game, it puts them in a good position. At least it puts a bit of a distance between them and whoever is in seventh. That's Aston Villa. So that gives them about a 6 point gap or thereabout, if I'm not mistaken. And with 4 games to go, you would expect that they should be able to hold their own, especially when you consider their fixtures towards until the end of the season. But moving away from the Premier League, I want us to just quickly discuss the Champions League semi-finals. Um, it's no longer news that Inter will be facing Barcelona and PSG will be facing Arsenal. Of these 4 teams, if I'm not mistaken, 3 of them finished in the top 8 in the UCL group stage, and I think it was only PSG that actually finished outside the top 8, which is like a testament to the the strength of this whole league format thing, that the league does not tell a lie. The best teams eventually, go far in the competition. The teams that have done well in the group stage eventually go far in the competition. We'll see if that is something that will be maintained in subsequent seasons. But just quickly, I would like you to give us your thoughts on the teams that you think will qualify for the final. The first leg comes up, I think it's next week, or is it this week? No, it's
Yeah,
next week. Next
next,
Tuesday,
yeah.
PSG would be hosting Arsenal in France, and
No, Arsenal will be hosting PSG.
Arsenal will be hosting PSG. Sorry about that. Arsenal will be hosting PSG at the Emirates, and Inter will be traveling to Barcelona. So just quickly, give us what you think would happen, what you're expecting. how you think the first leg will go, and then we can look at what will possibly happen in the second leg, perhaps in the episode before those games. Tosin.
Right. Um, for Arsenal, definitely that's my team, and I really want us to make the final. Since 2006, we've not been there, so this is an opportunity to be there again. It's not going to be easy. I think PSG will be a tougher test to Madrid's game. Because when we faced PSG this season and we won 2-0, and but we faced PSG when they didn't. I think Dembele was not in the team at that moment. I think they played with Bracola, Doué, and someone in front. I can't remember anymore.
Yeah,
And
one I think it's
and
one Asian player in front. I think I can't
yeah,
remember his name. Yeah,
Kangin Lee?
so
yeah,
maybe Lee.
he's a
And we
Lee.
won the game 2-0. And we had a full team when we played them. We had Kai Havertz, we had Gabriel, so we're able to win 2-0 comfortably. And but since they are coming to Emirates, I believe Arsenal should be able to go through. But the scores I can't predict. I can't say maybe it's going to be 3-0 again, like the one we did to Madrid. But I
Every day
hope
is not Christmas, so
yeah, I hope we win with at least 2 goals before we go back to France. So, and for Inter Barcelona, it's going to be a tough one for Inter going to Nou Camp. But I trust Inzaghi. He knows how to pack the bus. His own is to go to Spain, pack the bus. Hopefully, either they live there with a draw or the nick a goal and win. And but in Italy, I'm sure they should be able to undo Barcelona.
Kaz,
And
do you have anything to add to that?
Uh, Nothing really much. I would just say I wish Arsenal the best. I expect them to win at Emirates, maybe by 2 goals to 1. I know it's going to be hard to. Um, the difference between this team they're playing and the Madrid team is that this team doesn't have too many big boys. Madrid team has too many big boys, and running around was a bit of a problem for them. They weren't really putting in their best. Like a friend said, PSG is almost in the same position as Arsenal. They are both pressured to win the UEFA Champions League. Uh, PSG has bottled too much in Europe. They also want to prove themselves worthy of being a contender. They are tired of hearing we are a farmer league. They want to actually do something different. So I just want Arsenal to look over whatever they might have done against Madrid and focus on whatever it is they have in front of them, because it's going to be a very tough game.
And for Barcelona Inter,
So I don't want to sound like a pained Milan neighbor, but Inter might lose the first leg and then go over second leg to do, because I'm not sure with what I've seen in recent time, the way the defense has been conceding some goals. I don't know how they're gonna hold up their own against the very fast attacking Barcelona side. But let's see how it goes. I wish them all the best. I wish Inter can go through to the final, and I know if they get to the final, they can win the trophy. I know very well. I know if there's one team that Arsenal does not want to meet at any point in this competition, is Inter Milan. So, but I,
definitely.
I would
well,
say I just wish I wish something could just someone could speak to the defense of Inter Milan and tell them this they need to bring in their A game against Barcelona. Barcelona is a very, very, very
personally,
have a lot to prove.
and I hope I'm wrong. I think that Barcelona would knock Inter out. For Arsenal and PSG, I think it would be a situation where whoever performs best on their home ground will qualify. So if Arsenal are able to get a very good win at the Emirates, I think that's. I mean, look at Arsenal. When was the last time Arsenal conceded 3 goals? In fact, before you can score 2 goals against Arsenal, you have to sweat. So if Arsenal can get a 2 goal lead against you, it puts them in a very, decent position
Comfortable
to
position.
qualify in the second leg. But for Inter, I think that Inter are struggling with energy levels a lot. They've been struggling recently. And like I've told some of my friends, that team was not built to undo three competitions in a row. And the fact that the coach, you know, is still well, was in three competitions up until last week, is a miracle as far as I'm concerned. The team is really struggling with energy. If you saw the game against AC Milan, I saw the first half. I just immediately Milan scored. I just switched off because I knew it was coming. So I just could not continue because of my mental health. So um, I think that considering the fact that if you've been following the news, Real Madrid are threatening not to play the Copa del Rey final this weekend because of issues with the referee. They think that the referee might be biased and there might be some issues on that. And so they are threatening that they might not play. And if they do not play that match, it means that Barca would have had like 6 days of rest compared to Inter that played on Wednesday against AC Milan. Will play on Sunday because they should have played on Saturday, but because of the Pope's burial, the match was moved to Sunday, and then they have to travel to Barcelona on Tuesday to then face Barcelona on Wednesday. So tiredness. Sorry, I didn't get that.
I said that's too close. That's too close.
Way too close. So I think that tiredness is going to be a big issue in that game. And in fact, if Inter do not sit back and defend, they might get completely whitewashed in a way that coming back in the second leg would not be possible. So that's one of my biggest fears, apart from obviously tactical issues in terms of what Barca offers and what Inter can offer. But we'll see how it goes. I've really enjoyed the show tonight, and I'm glad that we've been able to, say a few things to analyze some of the different topics that we've got. I wish we had a bit more time to discuss, but unfortunately, it is what it is. To everyone watching, please follow us on all our social media platforms. We're live on TikTok, Twitter, that's X, Facebook, and also subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We would really appreciate it. The handles would be displayed right under your screen. We've come to the end of the show today or tonight. We usually record in the night, so if you've heard me say tonight, it's because we record mostly in the night. So we've come to the end of the show tonight, and it's been a great time having you guys. Cass, Tosin. Unfortunately, it looks like Samson has disappeared. Any last words for our viewers, guys?
Keep enjoying the show. Uh, engage with our videos. Tell us what you want us to do. Like, subscribe, and enjoy the show. Thank you.
And yes, to our Arsenal fans watching this, we pray and hope this season, yes, we win the Champions League. so so that we can always at least boast that we've joined the elite clubs as well. So keep watching the show, everyone, and have a lovely evening.
Have a lovely evening, guys. Until we see each other again in the next episode. Bye bye.